your dreams telling you what you are doing, you'll succeed. Stand on them. Stand on them. Do your dreams agree on that goal you're aiming to reach? Stand on them. Stand on them. We know that dreams can come true. Dream on, dreamer. If your dreams are the same, and on that goal you stated your claim, stand on them. Stand on them. Dream on, dreamer. Dream on, dreamer. Dream on. People ask you, do you really believe your dreams will come true? You stand on them. Stand on them. I know it seems like a waste of time, but be strong in your mind. Stand on them. Stand on them. We know that dreams can come true. Dream on, dreamer. A doctor, a lawyer, politician, or maybe a musician. You stand on them. Stand on them. Dream on, dreamer. Dream on, dreamer. We know, oh, dreams can come true. Dream, dreamer. A doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, or maybe a preacher. Dream, dreamer. Dream, dreamer. Hey, think I want to dream. Just let me dream. Dream, dreamer. Keep dreaming.
Lynn Tompkins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Okay, we can go home now. That's what I'm going to say. I love it. I love it. That's great. I think there's a preacher in you too, Lynn. Good morning.
Good morning.
Add my welcome to all the other welcomes. Reverend Dr. Suzi Schadle, interim minister here at Suncoast, and delighted to be with you once again. Values-based spiritual living, that's what we're all focused on in this entire denomination all around the world. So there's a power when we all come together in consciousness to really create that opportunity for us to dive into the idea of values-based spiritual living. The theme that Centers for Spiritual Living has chosen for the month of July is spiritual living through open communication. It's a good idea. I think it's a good idea to have open communication, and we continue to pray for it, right? In our own individual lives, in our collective lives, in the life of the world. And what Centers for Spiritual Living says about that is that we stand together in a shared commitment and devotion to our spiritual principles, practices, and values. That's important. We stand together in a shared commitment and devotion to our spiritual principles, practices, and values. So this is just not something, drive-by thing that we do. This is a lifestyle. This is a way of being in the world that changes our lives and the life of this planet. So that's really important stuff. And they go on to say that we communicate openly with each other in an atmosphere of collaboration and inclusion. When we collaborate and include others, everything gets better. It gets to be bigger than any of the individual pieces, even if you put them all together. When they start to blend and merge and integrate, it becomes really powerful and magnificent. And so I think it's a wonderful idea for us to begin to really live into. As Wen said, to dream on from this now, right here, into an ideal future. We create it right now. So our July theme here at Suncoast is communicating with our awakened selves. So having communication with your innermost, authentic, deepest self. And then once you touch base with that, then you communicate with it to others, to spirit, to the world. And today I want to focus on communicating with our awakened vision, that dream on. Let's dream on and let's actually do what it is that we're called to do to activate that possibility in our lifetime. Like next week, maybe? That'd be good. Next week would be good. 2 weeks would be good. Every week would be good. So let's do it. Would you tell me, please, which way I ought to go from here? Alice asked. Well, that depends a good deal on where you want to go, said the cat. I don't much care where, said Alice. Well, then it doesn't matter which way you go, said the cat. Well, so long as I get somewhere, Alice added in explanation. You may have guessed that that's from Alice in Wonderland, right? Well, here's the deal. Why I bring that up is because if we are not clear about where we're going, we will often end up somewhere that we really may not want to be. And sometimes when we say, well, wherever we end up, and then we get there and we're like, ooh, not so much, not so much. So perhaps we should listen to that cat a little more, because I think he had a good idea that it might be good to be clear about where it is that we're going. Now, one of the ways that we can be motivated to move in a direction that we choose, one is to not choose, to be unclear, and to be pushed by the pain of past confusion. Or we can choose to get clear and allow ourselves then to be pulled by a vision of future possibility. I've tried both. The pulling is much easier, actually. The pushing works, but it can sometimes be painful. But I gotta tell you, pain can be a great motivator. It's a great starter. I don't like to hang out there any longer than I have to, however. I don't know about the rest of you, but pain can get you off the dime, but you probably don't want to take up residence there. So, but even pain, and even problems can be useful in moving us forward. It can get us off the dime. Sometimes it shows up in the form of doors closing. But doors closing often bring with them our attention to what is opening. If this one's closing, that means I gotta look elsewhere. I gotta look for the open door now. So that's a good thing. That little bit of pain causes me to look elsewhere. Often, it's important for us to allow things to break down in order to break through, because sometimes we get sort of fixated on patchwork quilting something back together rather than saying, you know what? Cut it off, move on, start fresh. Maybe that's what's being called. So look for the open door. Look for the fresh place to catapult from. And that's where you let go of that pain that may have pushed you and grab on to the vision that will pull you. Because we no longer have to be at the effect of our past, but we can choose to be the cause of our intended future right now, in the now moment, which is the only moment we have the power of creation, right now, right now. My friend Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith teaches this. I love this. Every problem is a question wanting to ask itself. You know, if we thought of problems as that, they might be a little easier on us. Every problem is a question wanting to ask itself. And every question is an answer wanting to be revealed. And every answer is an action wanting to be expressed through you. See how that shifts the idea of problems immediately? I love that. I love that. So, you know, next time you have a problem, kind of think of it that way. There's a problem wanting to ask a question, and a question that's wanting to be revealed, and an action that's wanting to be expressed. Clear vision. Clear vision. So if we can get a clear what are we being called to? What is this possibility that keeps beckoning me? If we get a clear vision, it activates those possibilities and it attracts its own fulfillment. It literally pulls you into it, into areas that you wouldn't even think of on your own, but it pulls you in the right direction because you allow yourself to partner with Spirit in that pulling into vision and possibility. And here's the good news, folks. The vision is already completely accomplished in the mind of Spirit. It's already done in the mind of Spirit. What we're called to do is to be still enough, to be awake enough, to be present enough to catch the vision, catch what Spirit already knows. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We don't have to make stuff up. We don't have to squeeze our heads into a funny shape until something smart pops out. Yeah, isn't that good? Because, yeah, without all this hair, my head looks pretty funny. So, you know, we really, I don't really know that. I don't think I've ever been bald since babyhood. Anyway, it did look funny then, though. So, you know, we don't have to do crazy things and headstands and handstands. All we have to do is be still and know. Be still and catch the vision that Spirit already has for us. Catch that possibility, one of the many unlimited possibilities that Spirit already has for us to step into, to follow that divine guidance. And when we do that, it aligns us with the power and the resources of the entire universe. The universe then begins to conspire for the fulfillment of what we're being pulled into. And where things go awry, it's usually us getting a monkey wrench in the works. You know, we get in our own way. Have you ever done that? You're walking along and you stumble over your own feet? It's kind of like that, only worse. Because it's about your life. It's not just looking silly on the street corner. Dr. Ernest Holmes said, all the power of the universe is with you. Feel it, know it, and then act as though it were true. All the power of the universe. That's how powerful you are. All of the power of the universe. Feel it, know it, and then act as if it's true. That vision, that possibility, that dream, that is at the intersection of our values and our talents and our passions, our vision, our dreams, our service. All of that good stuff comes together and gets clear right there in the center of everything. It empowers us, it guides us, it directs us, it validates our reason for being. And we attract and we create what we most think, feel, and believe. What you're thinking, feeling, and believing shows up. If you don't know what you're thinking, feeling, and believing, look what's showing up and work backward. If you like it, keep doing it. If you don't, you might want to make a change. You might want to shift into something else. Reverend Dr. Ernest Holmes, our founder, wrote, as we bring ourselves to a greater vision, we bring our concept and thereby demonstrate more in our experience. In this way, there is a continuous growth and unfoldment taking place. The invisible is into visibility through our faith in it, through our faith, through our conviction, through our belief, through our knowing, through our commanding the universe. You know, we were given dominion. That means we were given the power of the universe to fulfill who we've come here to be. That's powerful. And you know, most of us spend most of our lives working really hard to make things happen. And then we wonder why sometimes it's like, what happened? They fizzle. They metafizzle. They, you know, and most often, in fact, I would venture to say every time that happens, it's because we have tried to take the reins and get in our own way. We've been run over by our own team of horses, instead of partnering with Spirit and following that inner guidance into outer action. You know, one of the ways we can start to get clear on what it is that we're being called to in any given moment is to do a thing that I call practicing back to the future thinking. So that you are envisioning your future legacy right now. So, you know, I'm going to ask you, if it's comfortable for you to do so, I'm going to ask you to stand up for a moment. And what I'm going to ask you to think about is I want you to think about your ideal future. It might be next week, it could be in a month, 6 months, a year, 3 years, 5 years, whatever it is. I want you to envision in your mind an ideal future. And I want you, once you have it, I want you to turn around and face the opposite direction. And as you're projecting that ideal future, see yourself standing way up there in the future. See yourself there. Feel what it feels like to be standing there in the future. Okay? And now look at yourself in the future. And that person is looking back at you right now. So you're looking now back from the future into now, from the vantage point of the future into this now moment. And so from that vantage point of the future, look at your now self, and I want you to imagine the steps, the actions, the thinking, the collaborating, all the things that it took for you to get there. Imagine from the future all the things you did from now to get to there. Just imagine some of them. You won't have an exhaustive list right now. But even just imagine some of the milestones. And then for your homework, because there is homework, this is the month of homework, we're in summer school, I'm going to ask you to really brainstorm that. Practice this back to the future thinking. And actually do some brainstorming. Write some things down. And then, you know what, you might actually do them. You might actually start doing some of those. Okay? So you may turn around and sit down. I just wanted to give you a sense of, you know, that's a really quick, easy, fun kind of way to do that. Project yourself in the future and then look back and see what all the things that you did to get there. You can do it with all kinds of things, short-term, long-term. Play with that idea, and do write them down. And do make a commitment to do them. And I guarantee you'll get where you're going, unlike Alice. You remember her journey, that was wild. It's kind of fun too, though, I have to admit. Oh well. Okay, where are my Vanna Whites, please? If you would, did you already pass out one? Yeah.
We're about to.
Yeah, okay, great. Cool. Those of you who were here last week, this will look a little bit similar to the back side of the handout we worked on last week. But this week, I've modified it a little bit. And this week, I want us to really work on this from more of a communal, collective idea. If you're not at a table or with a group, I would ask you to do that. There's an extra table over there. So take your handout and a pen with you. I'm going to give you some instructions once everybody has all their equipment. And you work in groups because we're talking about collaboration and inclusion this month. And our best ideas come when we bounce with one another. I would suggest maybe 3 people per table if possible. That kind of works nice.
Sit with Deb and Jonathan.
3 people per table if you can do it that way. Let's see, we could use the 2 of you over here. We've got 2 spots. If you 2 would go over, please. Yeah, you guys, Jane and Donna. It's my clever way of splitting you guys up. They're troublemakers on, you know, when they're together, so we have to see, they didn't even notice that that's what it was really doing.
We did.
Oh darn, I'm not as clever as I thought. Okay, so here's the deal. I noticed the quote, I love this quote by Joseph Campbell. Where your talents and your bliss meet the needs of the world, that is where your purpose lies and where spirit wants you to be. I happen to think that that's very true individually and collectively. I think we are called as individuals and we're called as community to make a difference, to make the world a better place. So I'm going to ask you to look at those intersecting circles and see if we can get a clearer idea of awakened purpose for Suncoast. If you look at the top circle, that's about what are we most deeply passionate about, the things that we love to do, why we exist, our reason for being, and how do we manifest those deepest passions. So play with that idea, brainstorm, discuss amongst yourselves. When you look at the circle on the left, it's what can we be best in the world at? What can we be best in the world at? What are our visionary dreams? What is it that's like way outside the box, way outside of what seems to be possibility right now, but it is? What do we most want to achieve? What kind of an impact do we want to have? Who's our ideal audience or community, and how do we best demonstrate that? And then the circle on the right, what drives our spiritual and resource engine? Well, what drives us are values and vision, our talents, our developed skills, the needs of the world, the needs of the community. How do we enhance these and deliver them? How do we express them so that we become that difference in the world for ourselves and each other? So play with those circles, and you know, I know there's not room to put everything in the circles, but you know, write little spokes coming out of the circles. Have a discussion about that. And today, I'm going to do something a little differently. Last week you had one that focused on you as an individual, then you flipped it over and it looked kind of like this, and you took that whole thing home with you and hopefully did some more with it. Today, I want to collect these, because I want to collect the greatest wisdom of who's here today. And we want to take a look at how do we become this? How do we as a community become this possibility that you're allowing yourself to know? Okay? Go for it. So, how was that? Did you come up with some things that feel a little exciting to you, or if you're like, wow, that's a good idea? Did you wow yourselves at all? Anybody wow themselves? Because we did. I actually got pretty excited over here. There's some cool stuff that came out. So, you know, and again, this is again the issue with having, you know, a couple hours to be together on a Sunday. I would love to take some time to really play with this and collaboratively come up with some things that catapult us into that future that wants to pull us into it. So, you know, I do the best I can with what I've got to work with, which is limited time in the moment. But I happen to believe that sometimes, you know, under pressure, you know, coal under pressure ultimately becomes a diamond. So with a little bit of pressure, sometimes some good ideas kind of pop out. So I'm anxious to have you turn those in and see what we've come up with. And we'll be working with it to see what we can actually manifest, and some really cool stuff. Some stuff came up here that we're going to engage some of you out there in, because we thought of some people, hey, they'd be really good with something like this. They're really talented with this. They have a really great idea about that. So we started thinking not only of the people in our own circle, but the people in your circles as well, and bringing all of that together. So I just want to have a little taste of what's possible. We'll continue working with some of these ideas. So if you would turn those in, please do, collect them at your tables, and maybe Barley will grab them up for me, and then I'm going to kind of collate everything.
I was trying to get what I was thinking, but also what everybody else was.
So I'm just going to close with a quote from Joel Barker. He said that vision without action is a dream. There's nothing wrong with dreams, but dream on, dreamer, and make it a reality, right, Gwen? So vision without action is a dream. Action without vision is simply passing the time. And action with vision is making a positive difference. And I happen to believe that's one of the main things that we are called to be as a spiritual community, is to make a positive difference in the Tampa Bay community. That we are called to make the world a better place. Sure. And starting with those who are close by, in this community and beyond these four walls. And I think that we are called to that high purpose, on purpose, because we have the capacity to be it and to do it. If we believe. If we believe. And that takes doing the work in consciousness first in mind, then in manifestation.